His hands were on her the moment the door closed, rough, desperate, breaking every rule that stood between bodyguard and princess. Layla's back hit the wall of the Istanbul safehouse, her torn gown from the assassination attempt still stained with someone else's blood. "We can't," Arjun breathed against her mouth, even as his fingers tangled in her hair. "Your wedding is in 3 weeks. Your father will kill me. I'll lose everything." She silenced him with a kiss that tasted like danger and jasmine perfume. "Then let's lose everything together." Outside, thunder crashed over the Bosphorus. Inside, a princess and her protector crossed a line that would destroy kingdoms, end careers, and set fire to every rule written in the name of duty. But the real question wasn't whether they would survive the scandal. It was whether they could survive walking away from each other when morning came. Arjun Varma stood at attention in the Sheikh's private study, surrounded by enough gold leaf and marble to fund a small nation. The ruler of Dubai sat behind a desk carved from a single piece of ebony, studying the file in his weathered hands like it contained state secrets. In a way, it did. Arjun's entire life reduced to paper: Indian Special Forces, counterterrorism operations in Kashmir and Afghanistan, decorations for valor, psychological evaluations that all said the same thing: disciplined, detached, emotionally unavailable. Perfect qualifications for protecting a princess who was, according to everyone in this palace, entirely too spirited for her own good. "You come highly recommended, Mr. Varma," the Sheikh said, his English carrying the precise accent of British boarding schools and Oxford degrees. 3 previous bodyguards failed to maintain appropriate professional distance with my daughter. One tried to elope with her, another wrote her love poetry. The third simply quit after 2 weeks, claiming she was, and I quote, "impossible to protect because she actively seeks danger." Arjun kept his expression neutral. "Your Highness, I assure you that personal entanglements are not something I engage in. My focus is singular: the safety of my principal." "Good." The Sheikh stood, walked to the window overlooking the palace gardens, where fountains danced and palm trees swayed in the desert breeze. "Because my daughter is not just any principal. She is Princess Layla bint Mohammed al-Rashid. In 45 days, she will marry Crown Prince Khalid of Abu Dhabi, uniting 2 of the most powerful families in the Emirates. This marriage represents billions in economic partnerships, military alliances, and regional stability." Translation: "She's not a person, she's a political chess piece." Arjun had protected enough VIPs to recognize the pattern. "There have been threats," the Sheikh continued, turning back to face him. "Rival families who oppose the union, extremist groups who see our family as too Western, too progressive. 3 credible assassination plots in the last 6 months alone. My daughter needs protection, but she also needs to remain untouchable, untainted. Her reputation must be absolutely pristine for this marriage to proceed." "I understand, Your Highness." "Do you?" The older man's eyes narrowed. "Because from where I stand, you're exactly what my daughter finds most intriguing: mysterious, dangerous, forbidden. You have the look of a man with demons in his past. She collects broken things and tries to fix them." Arjun felt a flicker of irritation, but pushed it down. "With respect, sir, I'm not a thing to be collected. I'm a professional. Point me at the threats, give me the parameters, and I'll keep your daughter alive until she walks down that aisle." The Sheikh studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "See that you do. Because if you fail, if anything happens to her, if any scandal touches her name, you won't just lose this job, Mr. Varma. You'll lose considerably more than that." The threat hung in the air, clear as crystal. Arjun had worked in the Middle East before. He knew what happened to men who dishonored royal daughters, some mistakes you didn't get to walk away from. "I won't fail," he said simply. What he didn't say: he already knew this assignment was dangerous in ways that had nothing to do with bullets or bombs. He'd seen Princess Layla from a distance during his security briefing that morning, watching from the palace's upper gallery as she moved through the garden below like a caged bird testing the limits of its prison. She wore a designer abaya that probably cost more than his annual salary, but underneath the silk and propriety, he'd recognized something that made his chest tighten with unwanted understanding. She was a fighter trapped in a diplomat's life, a wildfire forced to burn at candlelight. And Arjun Varma had always been drawn to flames, even when he knew they'd burn him alive. That evening, Arjun did what his training dictated. He studied his principal's patterns. Layla took the same walk every night at sunset, through the eastern gardens where roses climbed ancient walls and the fountains sang their endless songs. Her previous bodyguards had allowed this routine, apparently charmed by the romance of it all. Arjun saw it differently. 3 blind spots where the garden walls blocked sightlines from the palace, 2 exit points that led to service roads, at least a dozen places where a sniper could set up if they were patient enough. So when Princess Layla appeared at the garden entrance right on schedule, dressed in flowing silk the color of twilight, Arjun stepped out of the shadows directly into her path. She nearly walked into him, pulled up short with a gasp that was more surprise than fear. Up close, she was even more striking than he'd anticipated. Dark eyes that missed nothing, full lips set in a natural pout that probably had Prince Khalid counting down the days, and a jawline that suggested her royal bloodline had been forged in stubbornness as much as nobility. "You're the new guard," she said, recovering quickly. Her English was flawless, accentless, probably educated at some Swiss finishing school or American university. "I heard you arrived today." "Princess Layla." Arjun kept his voice professionally cool. "Unscheduled movements require advance notice to the security team. This evening walk wasn't on your daily schedule." Her eyes flashed with something that might have been amusement or annoyance, hard to tell. "This evening walk has been on my schedule for 5 years. Every night, same time, same path. The only thing new here is you." "Which is precisely why we need to establish new protocols," he countered smoothly. 3 blind spots in this garden, 2 unsecured exit points, 1 bodyguard. The mathematics don't favor rebellion, Your Highness." She stepped closer, and he caught the scent of jasmine, expensive perfume or soap, the kind that probably came in bottles with French names and price tags that made grown men weep. "I don't answer to hired help, Mr. Varma." Arjun Varma. He didn't step back, even though protocol suggested he should maintain distance. Something about her energy demanded you hold your ground or get swept away entirely. "And you don't answer to me, Your Highness. You answer to the threats against your life. I'm just the inconvenience standing between you and them." How poetic. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Let me guess. Ex-military, probably special forces, definitely carrying at least 2 weapons right now, and absolutely convinced that I'm some spoiled princess who doesn't understand the real world." 3 weapons, he corrected, then immediately regretted it. Something about her made him want to rise to her provocations, which was exactly the wrong instinct. "And I don't make assumptions about who you are, Your Highness. I only care about keeping you alive for the next 45 days until you marry Crown Prince Khalid." There it was, the flinch. Barely visible, just a tightening around her eyes, but Arjun had been trained to read micro-expressions. The upcoming wedding was a wound, and he'd just pressed on it. 44 days now, she said quietly. But who's counting? She moved to step around him, but he shifted to block her path. "You're seriously not letting me walk in my own garden?" "Not alone, not at sunset when the light creates perfect cover, not when there have been 3 credible threats against you in 6 months." He pulled out his phone, keyed the security channel. "This is Varma. Principal is in the East Garden. I need 2 additional units on perimeter watch now." Layla's jaw dropped. "You're calling in backup for a garden walk?" "I'm establishing that your safety takes priority over your convenience, Your Highness. The sooner we both accept that, the easier these 44 days will be." For a moment, he thought she might actually hit him. Her hands clenched into fists, her breathing quickened, and something wild flashed through her eyes. Rage or frustration, or maybe just the desperation of someone who'd been told what to do her entire life and was finally at the breaking point. But then she laughed, sharp and bitter and absolutely without humor. "They really did send someone different this time. Fine, Mr. Varma, call your backup, lock down the garden, do whatever you need to do. But understand something, I've had bodyguards before. They all start out like you, all professional and cold and convinced they're immune to me. By the end, they either fall in love with me, fall apart trying to control me, or simply fall away because they realize this job is impossible." She stepped close enough that he could see gold flecks in her dark eyes, close enough that the jasmine scent made his head swim slightly. Which one are you going to be? Arjun met her gaze steadily, ignoring the way his pulse kicked up. None of the above, Your Highness. I'm going to be the one who gets you to that wedding alive and intact, no matter how much you fight me on it. And then I'm going to cash my check and forget I ever met you. We'll see, she said softly, and something in her tone sent warning bells clanging through his head. The backup arrived. 2 security guards from the palace detail. Layla's smile turned brittle and false as she gestured expansively at the garden. Well then, shall we? I'd hate for my evening constitutional to cause an international incident. They walked in silence, Layla ahead with her head high and her spine rigid with barely contained fury, Arjun 3 steps behind, watching everything except the way the sunset caught in her hair and turned it to bronze fire. The other guards kept perimeter, professional and invisible. It should have been simple. It should have been just another protection detail. But Arjun couldn't shake the feeling that he'd just stepped into something far more dangerous than any assassination plot. Because Princess Layla wasn't wrong. He'd seen it in her eyes, that flash of recognition when she'd looked at him. She'd seen the darkness in him, the same way he'd seen the trapped fighter in her. And people with demons always recognized each other, even when they shouldn't. The next morning, Arjun learned what proximity protocol really meant when you were protecting royalty. It meant sitting in the back seat of an armored Mercedes beside Princess Layla as she was driven to a charity foundation meeting in downtown Dubai. It meant close quarters and expensive perfume and the uncomfortable awareness that his thigh was inches from hers on the leather seat. Professional distance was a lot easier when there was actual distance involved. Layla stared out the window at the gleaming towers of the city, her fingers playing restlessly with her phone. She wore Western clothes today. Designer jeans that probably cost more than his motorcycle back in Mumbai, a silk blouse, expensive sunglasses. The transformation from traditional princess to modern woman was startling, and Arjun forced himself to focus on threat assessment instead of how the jeans fit her. You're staring, she said without looking at him. I'm observing, he corrected. Your clothing choices affect security posture. Traditional dress limits mobility but provides cultural camouflage. Western clothing makes you more visible to conservative extremists, but easier to move quickly if necessary. How practical. Now she did turn to look at him, sunglasses pushed up into her hair. Do you analyze everything like a tactical problem? It's my job. Is that how you got that scar? She gestured to his jaw, where a thin white line ran from his ear to his chin. Tactical analysis? Arjun's hand moved unconsciously to touch the old wound before he caught himself. Afghanistan, Kabul specifically, a bullet that should have killed someone else. You took it for them. It's what we do. He met her eyes, saw genuine curiosity there instead of the morbid fascination most people showed when they learned about his past. Take bullets. For strangers? She pressed. For whoever needs it in that moment. He shifted, uncomfortable with the personal turn of the conversation. The job isn't complicated, Your Highness. See the threat, eliminate the threat, protect the principal. Everything else is noise. And what if the principal doesn't want to be protected? Her voice dropped lower, intimate in the enclosed space. What if she'd rather take her chances with the threats than spend one more day being treated like a valuable object that needs guarding? Arjun felt the weight of her question, understood it wasn't really about security at all. But before he could respond, before he could make the mistake of treating her like a person instead of a principal, his phone buzzed with an alert from the security team. Traffic pattern anomaly, he said, scanning the message. 2 vehicles matching a flagged profile on our route. He leaned forward, spoke to the driver. Divert to alternate route Charlie. Now. The Mercedes smoothly changed lanes, took an unexpected turn. Layla gripped the door handle, alarm flashing across her face. What's happening? Probably nothing. Arjun kept his voice calm even as his hand moved to the weapon concealed at his hip. But we don't take chances with probably. They took a longer route, through less scenic parts of the city. The vehicles that had triggered the alert didn't follow. False alarm or a probe to test response times. Either way, Arjun logged it in his mental file of anomalies. When they finally arrived at the foundation office, a gleaming tower that housed various Al Rashid family charitable organizations, Layla sat frozen in her seat for a moment, breathing hard. "This is my life," she said quietly. "Every day, every moment. Wondering if today's the day someone decides I'm not worth keeping alive. Wondering if I'm going to die before I even get to live." The rawness in her voice cut through Arjun's professional detachment like a knife. He saw her then, really saw her, not as a principal or a chess piece or a problem to solve, but as a 26-year-old woman trapped in a life she never chose, counting down to a marriage she didn't want, with threats circling like sharks in dark water. "I won't let that happen," he heard himself say, and the promise in his voice went far beyond professional obligation. "Whatever it takes, Your Highness, you're going to live." She turned to look at him, and something passed between them in that moment. Recognition, connection, a dangerous spark that should have been immediately extinguished. "Layla," she said softly, "when it's just us, call me Layla." "That wouldn't be appropriate, Your Highness." "Nothing about this is appropriate, Mr. Varma." She smiled, sad and knowing. "But I think we're past pretending otherwise, don't you?" Before he could respond, before he could explain all the reasons why they absolutely were not past anything, her door opened. Palace attendants, foundation staff, a whirlwind of activity that pulled her away into meetings about fundraisers and initiatives, and all the charitable work that made royal families look beneficent instead of merely obscenely wealthy. Arjun followed at the prescribed distance, watching everything and everyone, his mind cataloging threats and exits and security vulnerabilities. Professional, detached, exactly as he should be. But when their hands had accidentally brushed on the car seat earlier, just the briefest contact of skin on skin, he'd felt her tense the same way he had. Felt that spark of forbidden awareness that had nothing to do with security and everything to do with the dangerous chemistry between a woman in a cage and a man who understood what it meant to be trapped by duty. That night, alone in his quarters in the palace's security wing, Arjun stared at the ceiling and told himself that 44 days was nothing. He'd endured worse, longer missions in hostile territory, longer spans of vigilance and isolation. But none of those missions had ever asked him to stand guard over someone whose eyes made him want to burn down every protocol ever written, just to see what she looked like when she was finally, impossibly free. 3 weeks passed like a slow burn, each day adding kindling to something that shouldn't be catching fire at all. Arjun shadowed Princess Layla everywhere, and proximity became their language. Morning rides at the royal stables where she handled Arabian horses with the same wild grace she brought to everything else. Afternoon meetings with wedding planners who showed her fabric swatches and flower arrangements while she smiled with all the enthusiasm of someone planning their own funeral. Evening dinners where Crown Prince Khalid, who flew in from Abu Dhabi every few days, touched her hand possessively while Arjun stood against the wall with his jaw so tight it ached. Khalid was everything Alame Crown Prince should be. Handsome, in that carefully groomed way of wealthy men, educated at Cambridge, fluent in 5 languages, and completely, utterly wrong for her. Arjun watched the way Layla's shoulders tensed when Khalid touched her, the way her smile never quite reached her eyes, the way she found excuses to leave the room whenever the wedding talk grew too intense. And he hated himself for noticing, for caring, for wanting to put himself between them. "You're glaring," Ahmed, one of the other security guards, muttered during one particularly excruciating dinner. "The prince is going to notice." "I'm observing," Arjun replied, the same lie he'd been telling himself for weeks. But it wasn't observation when he memorized the way Layla tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. It wasn't professional when he found himself engineering reasons to be the one driving her to dress fittings, to security meetings about the wedding venue, to late-night discussions about honeymoon itineraries that made his chest feel like it was being crushed in a vice. She did the same thing, manufactured moments alone with him, asked for his opinion on things that had nothing to do with security, started conversations that went deeper than protocol allowed. Like the afternoon, she insisted he personally drive her to a dress fitting at a boutique in Jumeirah. The attendants were dismissed, the other security kept perimeter outside, and for 20 minutes, it was just them in the back of the Mercedes, stuck in Dubai traffic. Do you believe in destiny, Arjun? She'd started using his first name in private, and he'd stopped correcting her somewhere around day 10. He kept his eyes on the traffic ahead. I believe in choices and consequences. Very diplomatic. She shifted in her seat, angling toward him. But that's not what I asked. Do you think some things are meant to be? Some people meant to meet even if the timing is all wrong? No, the lie came automatically. I think we make meaning out of random events because it's easier than accepting that chaos runs the world. That's bleak. That's realistic. He glanced at her, couldn't help himself. Why do you ask? Because I'm about to marry a man I barely know, in a ceremony arranged by families playing chess with human pieces, and everyone keeps telling me it's destiny, that this is what I was born for. She looked out the window at the glittering excess of Dubai passing by. What if you have no choice? What if destiny is just another word for cage? Everyone has a choice, Your Highness. The formal title felt wrong in his mouth now, but he forced it out anyway. Some just cost more than others. And what if the cost is everything? She turned back to him, and her eyes were too bright, too vulnerable. What would you choose then? He should have deflected, should have changed the subject to security protocols or weather patterns or literally anything else. Instead, he heard himself say, I'd choose whatever let me sleep at night without regrets, because living with the wrong choice is slower than any bullet. The silence that followed was heavy with understanding, because they both knew what they were really talking about, even if neither could say it out loud. The moment Arjun realized Layla was missing, his blood turned to ice. They were at the Dubai Gold Souk, a deliberately unscheduled visit she'd insisted on, claiming she wanted to pick up a gift for her sister without the usual circus of palace attendants and media attention. He'd cleared it with minimal security, thinking the crowded market would provide cover. Instead, it provided opportunity. One moment she was looking at gold bangles with her two lady attendants. The next, she'd slipped between stalls and vanished into the maze of the market. Arjun's training kicked in immediately. He barked orders into his comm, sent the team fanning out in search patterns, and went after her himself with his heart hammering in a way that had nothing to do with professional concern and everything to do with the terror of losing her. He found her 7 minutes later, 7 minutes that aged him years, in a narrow alley between fabric shops, examining embroidered scarves like she hadn't just triggered a security nightmare. What the hell were you thinking? The words came out harsher than he intended as he grabbed her wrist, pulling her back toward the main souk. I was thinking I wanted 5 minutes of freedom, she shot back, trying to pull away. 5 minutes where I'm not watched and managed and controlled? You could have been taken. He didn't let go, dragging her through the crowds toward their vehicle. Fury and fear made his grip tight enough to bruise. Killed, ransomed. Do you have any idea what these people would do to a princess wandering alone? Maybe I'd rather take my chances with strangers than live in my golden prison. He pulled her sharply into a quiet alley, out of the crowd, his patience finally snapping. You can't do that. Ever. His voice was low, dangerous. I can't protect you if you run from me. Maybe I'm not running from danger, she whispered, and suddenly they were standing too close, her back against the ancient stone wall, his body blocking her from view of the market. Maybe I'm running toward something real. The air between them crackled with electricity. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, jasmine perfume and adrenaline creating a cocktail that made Arjun's head swim. His hand was still on her wrist. He could feel her pulse racing, could see the way her lips parted slightly as she looked up at him. Don't, he breathed, but he wasn't sure if he was warning her or himself. Don't what? Her free hand came up to touch his chest, right over his racing heart. Don't want you. Don't think about you every moment. Don't wish things were different. All of it. He forced himself to step back, to release her wrist, even though his body screamed at him to pull her, closer instead. We return to the palace, now. Arjun. Now, Your Highness. The formal title was a wall between them, deliberate and necessary. Before I do something we'll both regret. The ride back was silent, tense, charged with everything they weren't saying. Arjun's hands gripped the steering wheel tight enough to hurt, while Layla stared out the window with tears tracking silently down her cheeks. That night, he found a transfer request form on his computer. All he had to do was fill it out, submit it to the security coordinator, and he'd be reassigned within 48 hours. Someone else would take over Layla's detail, someone who hadn't crossed every professional line in existence, someone who didn't lie awake at night imagining what her mouth would taste like. He opened the form, stared at it for an hour, never filled it out. At 2 a.m., Arjun stood on the palace's roof terrace, coffee in hand, doing perimeter check because sleep was impossible lately. The Dubai skyline glittered below like scattered diamonds, and the desert wind carried the scent of salt from the distant Persian Gulf. He didn't hear her approach, which should have been his first clue that he was losing his edge, until she spoke from behind him. "Can't sleep either." He turned to find Layla wrapped in a silk robe, her hair loose around her shoulders, looking more beautiful and more miserable than he'd ever seen her. "Your Highness, it's not safe for you to be up here alone." "You're here," she interrupted, moving to stand beside him at the railing. "And please, stop calling me that. It makes me feel like I'm already married, already lost." She had a silver tray with tea things, an Arabic pot, 2 small glasses, a peace offering. "I couldn't sleep. Thought you might want company." He should refuse. Should send her back to her chambers, should maintain the professional distance that he'd already violated in 100 small ways. Tea at 2 a.m.? Is that a royal tradition? It's a desperate woman tradition, she poured, the amber liquid steaming in the cool night air. Khalid called tonight, wanted to discuss our future, talked for 45 minutes about diplomatic initiatives and economic partnerships and regional stability. Never once asked how I was, what I wanted, if I was happy. Arjun accepted the tea but didn't drink, too aware of how her fingers had brushed his during the exchange. Arranged marriages aren't about happiness. Then what are they about? Survival, power, continuation. He took a sip, the cardamom and saffron tasting expensive and foreign on his tongue. "In my world, people marry for love. In yours, love is a luxury you can't afford." "Your world," she repeated softly. "Tell me about it, about India, about the life you left." "Why?" "Because I want to know you." She turned to face him fully, moonlight turning her eyes to liquid silver. Not Arjun the bodyguard, but Arjun the person, the man who took a bullet for a stranger, the man who stands watch over people like me. He shouldn't. God knows he shouldn't. But the night and the tea and her vulnerability made him reckless. "I'm from Mumbai, 3rd child of a schoolteacher mother who wanted me to be a doctor. I joined the army at 18 to pay for my sister's education. Spent 12 years in places where people died badly and nobody cared except the ones who loved them." "Is that where you learned to be so controlled, so closed off?" "That's where I learned that caring gets you killed," he said bluntly. "In my line of work, attachment is a liability. You do the job, take the pay, move on. No connections, no complications." "That sounds lonely." "It's safe." He set down the tea, gripped the railing. The moment you care about someone, they become a weakness, a vulnerability, something that can be used against you. "And is that what I am?" Layla asked quietly. "A weakness?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Arjun could lie, should lie. Instead, he turned to face her, and the truth escaped before he could stop it. "You're the biggest liability I've ever had, and not because of the threats against you." "Then why?" "Because I can't stop thinking about you." The words came out rough, pulled from somewhere deep. "Because every time Crown Prince Khalid touches you, I want to break his hands. Because I lie awake at night in the room next to yours, listening to you breathe through the walls, imagining what would happen if I just walked through that door." Layla's breath caught, her eyes wide. "Arjun." "But I won't," he continued, harder now, rebuilding walls. "Because you're marrying him in 3 weeks. Because you're a princess, and I'm just the hired help who can't keep his emotions in check. Because if I touched you, if I crossed that line, I'd destroy us both." "What if I want to be destroyed?" She stepped closer, close enough that he could feel her warmth. "What if I'm tired of being preserved like something precious in a museum? What if I want to feel something real before I spend the rest of my life pretending?" "Don't ask me that," his voice broke. "Don't ask me to be the one who ruins you. You wouldn't be ruining me." Her hand came up to touch his face, fingers tracing the scar on his jaw. "You'd be saving me, even if it's just for one moment, even if it's just tonight." Arjun caught her wrist, but he didn't push her away. Couldn't. His control was a threadbare thing now, stretched too thin, ready to snap. If I kiss you, I won't stop there. If I start, I'll want everything, and that's not something I can take back. Then don't take it back, she whispered. Choose me. Just once. Let someone choose me instead of choosing politics or power or what's appropriate. His phone buzzed. Security update, hourly check-in. The sound shattered the moment like glass. Arjun stepped back, breaking contact, his breathing ragged. You should go back inside, Your Highness. It's late. Layla, she said, desperate now. My name is Layla. I know your name. He turned away, couldn't look at her anymore. I know everything about you. That's the problem. She left without another word, and Arjun stood alone on that roof terrace until dawn broke over the desert, wondering how you're supposed to protect someone when the greatest threat to them is you. The Al Rashid Foundation's annual charity gala was the social event of the season. 500 guests in evening wear, diamonds that could fund small countries, politicians, and royalty from across the Middle East and Europe. Security was supposed to be airtight, 3 layers of screening, metal detectors, background checks on every server and staff member. But money can buy anything, including someone on the inside. Arjun spotted the problem 90 seconds before it became lethal. A server approaching Layla's table with wrong credentials, moving with the purposeful stride of someone on a mission instead of the deferential glide of hospitality staff. His hand reached inside his jacket in a motion Arjun had seen 1,000 times before. Training took over. Arjun crossed the ballroom in 4 seconds, hitting Layla in a full-body tackle that sent them both crashing to the marble floor as gunshots exploded overhead. Crystal glasses shattered, people screamed, chaos erupted like a bomb going off in the middle of civilized society. He covered her body with his, feeling her heart hammering against his chest, her hands clutching his jacket. More shots, 2 other shooters emerging from the crowd, coordinated attack. Arjun's team returned fire, taking down the threats with precision while he shielded her from the violence. Stay down, he commanded, but she was frozen in shock, eyes wide with terror. Blood ran hot down the side of his head from a grazed bullet, but he barely felt it. His entire world had narrowed to her, keeping her safe, getting her out. He hauled her up, lifting her in his arms like she weighed nothing, and ran. Through the panicking crowd, past security teams converging toward the exit where armored vehicles waited. She wrapped her arms around his neck, burying her face against his shoulder, shaking so hard he could feel it through his suit. I've got you, he breathed into her hair. You're safe. I've got you. The motorcade screeched away from the hotel with Layla in the back seat, still shaking, her designer gown torn and blood-stained. Arjun sat beside her, letting her cling to him while his team coordinated emergency protocols and his ear dripped blood onto his collar. You're hurt. Her voice was small, shattered. She reached up to touch his face, her fingers coming away red. Arjun, you're bleeding. Just a graze, I'm fine. He caught her hand, held it. Should have let go. Didn't. Are you hurt anywhere? She shook her head, but tears were streaming now, shock giving way to the reality of how close death had come. He would have killed me. If you'd been 1 second slower. I wasn't. He pulled her closer, breaking every protocol. I won't let anyone hurt you. Never. Security footage from the gala would later show that moment. Princess Layla collapsed against her bodyguard's chest, his arms wrapped around her, their faces inches apart. The intimacy of it was unmistakable. The footage would run on news channels, be analyzed by royal commentators, become evidence of something that couldn't be easily explained away. But in that moment, Arjun didn't care about cameras or consequences. He cared about the woman in his arms who'd almost died while he watched. The debriefing happened at 3 a.m. in the Sheikh's private office. Intelligence confirmed what Arjun had already suspected. The attack was coordinated, professionally planned, with help from inside the palace security detail. Someone had sold information about the gala, about Layla's schedule, about vulnerabilities in protection. Trust had become a luxury they couldn't afford. We're extracting the princess, the security coordinator announced, spreading maps across the conference table. Istanbul safehouse, already secured by Allied intelligence services, skeleton crew only, Varma and 2 others we absolutely trust. She stays there until we've identified and eliminated the leak." Crown Prince Khalid burst into the room moments later, fury and fear warring on his face. "Where is she? Where's Layla?" "Being medically evaluated, Your Highness," the coordinator replied smoothly. "Minor bruising, nothing serious." "I should be with her." "You should be in Abu Dhabi with your own security team," the sheikh interrupted, his voice cold. "These attempts on my daughter's life didn't start until your engagement was announced, until your family's political enemies decided she was a target worth eliminating." The accusation hung in the air. Khalid bristled. "You're suggesting my family? I'm suggesting this marriage may have made my daughter's life worthless to people who see her only as a chess piece." The sheikh's gaze was ice. "We postpone the wedding. We keep her hidden until these threats are neutralized. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Then perhaps we need more time." The older man stood, done with the conversation. "Varma, get my daughter out of the country. Keep her safe. I don't care what it takes." Arjun found Layla in the palace medical wing, sitting on an examination table while a doctor checked her vitals. She'd changed into simple clothes, jeans and a sweater that made her look young and vulnerable instead of royal and untouchable. Her eyes were red from crying. "We're leaving," he told her quietly. "Private flight to Istanbul in 30 minutes. Pack light." "Istanbul?" She looked up, confused. "For how long?" "Until it's safe. Until we know who's trying to kill you and why." He moved closer, lowered his voice. "Your father's orders, my recommendation, no arguments." "And Khalid?" "Stays here. He called you." Arjun gestured to her phone on the side table. "Demanding to know where you're being taken, saying he should be the one protecting you." Something bitter crossed her face. "He's protecting his investment, the marriage alliance, not me." "Probably," Arjun agreed. Brutal honesty, the only thing he had to offer. "But I'm protecting you, and right now that means getting you away from anyone who might be compromised." "Even you?" She searched his face. "How do I know you're not compromised?" "You don't." He held her gaze. "You have to trust me anyway." She stood, swayed slightly, and he steadied her with a hand on her elbow. The touch sent electricity through both of them, different now, after the violence, after he'd covered her body with his and felt her heartbeat against his ribs. "I do trust you," she said softly. "That's what scares me most." The flight to Istanbul was surreal. A private jet cutting through darkness over the Mediterranean, Layla in the seat across from him, staring out at nothing, Arjun's 2 most trusted team members maintaining perimeter security at the front of the cabin. Khalid called 4 times. Layla rejected each one. "He'll be angry," she said during the 3rd rejection. "Let him. He'll demand to know where I am. He doesn't need to know. Nobody needs to know except the people on this plane." Arjun leaned forward. "For the next 72 hours, you're dead to the world. Ghost protocol, only way to keep you safe." "Dead to the world," she repeated, and something like relief flickered across her face. Maybe that's what I've always wanted, to disappear. To be someone other than Princess Layla bint Mohammed al-Rashid, diplomatic tool and royal breeding mare. "Don't talk like that." "Why not? It's true." She finally looked at him. "You've seen it. The way they all talk about me. My father, Khalid, the wedding planners. I'm not a person to them. I'm a contract to be executed, a merger to be finalized." "You're a person to me." The words fell between them like stones in still water. Layla's eyes widened, something breaking open in her expression. "Am I?" "You're..." He stopped, searching for words that wouldn't betray how much she'd come to mean to him. "You're my principal, my responsibility." "Is that all?" He looked away, couldn't hold her gaze. "It has to be." The rest of the flight passed in tense silence, both of them pretending they hadn't just revealed pieces of truth too dangerous to acknowledge. The Istanbul safehouse was a converted Ottoman mansion in the old city. Stone walls covered in climbing jasmine, courtyards with fountains, rooms full of antique furniture, and the ghost of history. Beautiful and isolated and intimate in ways that made Arjun's chest tight with foreboding. His team secured the perimeter, established watch rotations, verified all entry points. But inside the main house, it was just him and Layla, alone, for the first time with no attendants, no palace staff, no external eyes watching their every move. She stood in the master bedroom, still, wearing the torn evening gown from the gala, staring at nothing. Arjun had sent his team outside, needing to assess her injuries properly in private. Blood stained the silk, not hers, his, from where she'd pressed against him during the extraction. "I need to see if you're hurt," he said, professional voice firmly in place. "The doctor checked your vitals, but not... There could be bruising, injuries from the fall." "I'm fine." "Layla," he moved closer. "Let me look." She turned, and he saw the full damage. Her shoulder was already bruising purple where he tackled her, her palms scraped from hitting the marble. Not serious injuries, but painful nonetheless. "You're not fine." He pulled out his phone to call for medical supplies, but she caught his hand. "Don't go. I'm just calling, please." Her voice broke. "Don't leave me alone right now." He saw it then, the way she was barely holding together, shock and fear catching up now that the adrenaline had faded. She was shaking, her breathing coming too fast, eyes too bright with unshed tears. "Okay." He pocketed the phone, moved to the bathroom to grab the first aid kit from the supplies his team had stocked. "Sit down, let me take care of you." She sat on the edge of the massive antique bed, and Arjun knelt in front of her, cleaning her scraped palms with steady hands. The intimacy of the moment was unavoidable. Him kneeling at her feet, her watching his face as he worked, the bedroom around them seeming to shrink until there was nothing but them. "Does it hurt?" he asked quietly. "No. Yes." She laughed, sharp and painful. "I don't know. I can't feel anything except grateful that you were there, that you didn't hesitate. It's my job not to hesitate. Is that what you tell yourself?" Her uninjured hand came up to cup his face, thumb brushing over his cheekbone. "That this is just a job? That saving my life was just professional obligation?" He should pull away, should maintain distance. Instead, he turned his face into her touch, eyes closing briefly. What else would it be? Something real. Her voice was whisper-soft. Something that matters more than duty or contracts or what we're supposed to do. "Layla, I was so scared." The tears came now, finally breaking through. "I thought I was going to die without ever living, without ever feeling anything true, without ever knowing what it's like to be wanted for me, not for what I represent." Arjun stood, sat beside her on the bed, and she collapsed against him. He held her while she cried, his arms wrapped around her trembling body, his face pressed into her hair that smelled like jasmine and terror and the expensive shampoo from a life that almost ended. "You're alive," he murmured. "You're safe. I've got you." "For how long?" She pulled back to look at him, mascara streaking her face. "How long until they try again? Until some other assassin gets lucky? Until I go back to Dubai and marry Khalid and spend the rest of my life wondering if today's the day? I won't let that happen." "You can't promise that." She shook her head. "You can take 1,000 bullets, Arjun, but you can't stop time. Can't stop my wedding in 3 weeks. Can't stop me from going back to that life." "Then what do you want?" He gripped her shoulders. "Tell me what you want me to do. I want you to lie to me." Her hands fisted in his shirt. "Tell me we have more time. Tell me this safe house is real life instead of just a pause. Tell me that when you look at me, you see Layla instead of Princess Layla. Responsibility instead of..." She stopped, breathing hard. "Instead of what?" "Instead of the woman you want but can't have." The truth hung between them like a live wire. Arjun should deny it, should rebuild the professional walls that had crumbled the moment he'd thrown himself between her and those bullets. Instead, he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, inevitable. 3 weeks of tension finally snapping. She gasped against his mouth and then kissed him back just as fiercely, her hands tangling in his hair, her body pressing against his with a need that matched his own. "We can't," he breathed between kisses, even as he pulled her closer. "I don't care." She bit his lower lip, making him groan. "For once in my life, I don't care about what I should do." He pulled back barely, his forehead against hers. "Layla, if we do this, if I touch you the way I want to, there's no going back. You can't unsee this, can't pretend it didn't happen." "Good." Her eyes were fierce, certain. "I don't want to pretend. I want to remember this, want to know what it feels like to choose something for myself, even if it's just for tonight. Your wedding is 3 weeks away in a world that almost killed me tonight." She kissed him again, softer this time. "Let me have this. Let me have you. Just once. Please." Arjun's control shattered completely. He stood, lifting her in his arms the way he had during the extraction, but this time carrying her toward something beautiful instead of away from violence. She wrapped her legs around his waist, her dress riding up, and every rule he'd ever lived by burned to ash. "Tell me to stop," he said desperately, one last chance for sanity. "Never." She kissed his neck, his jaw, found his mouth again. "Don't you dare stop." So he didn't. He laid her down on that antique bed and made love to her like a drowning man finally breaking the surface, desperate and grateful and completely, irrevocably lost. She met him, touch for touch, kiss for kiss, giving herself with an abandon that broke something fundamental in his chest. Outside, the Istanbul night sang with the call to prayer from distant minarets. Inside, a bodyguard and a princess crossed a line that would cost them everything, and neither of them cared enough to turn back. Morning came too soon, and not soon enough. Arjun woke tangled in silk sheets and Layla's hair, her body pressed against his, her, breathing soft and even in sleep. For a moment, one perfect, dangerous moment, he let himself imagine this was real, that they were just two people who'd chosen each other instead of what they actually were, a catastrophic mistake wrapped in human skin. She stirred, felt him awake, and smiled without opening her eyes. Don't what? Don't regret this yet. She pressed closer, her hand sliding over his chest. Give me at least until we've had coffee. He should get up, should put distance between them, should rebuild the professional walls that had protected them both. Instead, he tightened his arms around her. We destroyed everything last night. I know. She finally opened her eyes, dark and serious. Worth it. Layla, do you regret it? The question hung in the morning light streaming through ancient windows. He could lie, should lie. No, that's the problem. She sat up, sheet pooling at her waist, and his mouth went dry looking at her. She was marks of him, bruises on her hips, his teeth on her throat, evidence that couldn't be hidden or explained away. What are we going to do? We have 3 days here before security protocols allow return to Dubai. His mind was already working through scenarios, calculating damages. Your father expects reports. Crown Prince Khalid is demanding to speak with you. The wedding is... I know when my wedding is, Arjun. She climbed out of bed, grabbing his shirt from the floor and putting it on. It swallowed her, made her look impossibly young. But that's not what I asked. I asked what we are going to do. There is no we. The words tasted like ash. There's you, Princess Layla, who's going to marry into alliance and power. And there's me, the bodyguard who broke every rule and will probably be disappeared for touching you. They wouldn't. They absolutely would. He got up, found his pants, needing clothes like armor. Do you know what happens to men who dishonor royal daughters in this part of the world, even in these modern times, even with your family's Western education? I'm not naive, Layla. I knew the consequences before I touched you. Then why did you? He turned to face her, saw her standing there in his shirt with her heart in her eyes, and the truth escaped before he could stop it. Because 3 weeks of watching you, wanting you, knowing you were going to marry someone else was torture. Because when those bullets started flying, all I could think was that if you died, the world would lose someone extraordinary. And I'd never get to tell you that you matter. That you're not just a princess or a chess piece or someone's future bride. He moved closer, unable to help himself. You're the bravest, most alive person I've ever met. And last night, for a few hours, I got to pretend you were mine. Tears tracked down her face. I don't want to pretend. I want it to be real. Real means consequences. Real means facing your father and Khalid and the entire world that expects you to be perfect and untouched. He caught her face in his hands, thumbs wiping away tears. Real means I probably disappear. You get forced into therapy or isolation, and the marriage happens anyway because political alliances don't care about love. Then run away with me. The words tumbled out desperate, reckless. Right now, we leave the safe house, get lost somewhere in Europe or Asia, and do what? Live on my salary while you're hunted by private security and intelligence agencies? He shook his head. You'd hate that life within weeks. You'd miss your family, your country, everything you've ever known. I'd have you. I'm not enough. He released her, stepped back. I'm one man with limited resources and a skill set designed for violence. I can't give you the life you deserve. You don't get to decide what I deserve. Her voice hardened, anger replacing tears. I deserve honesty. I deserve choice. I deserve to be loved by someone who sees me, not what I represent. Which is why this ends now. He forced steel into his voice. We return to Dubai in 3 days. You marry Prince Khalid. I request reassignment. Already drafted the paperwork. We pretend last night never happened. I can't pretend. You have to. He wouldn't look at her. Couldn't. Because if anyone finds out, they'll kill me for touching you. And I'd die before I let my mistake destroy your life. Is that what I am? A mistake? The best mistake I ever made. He finally met her eyes, let her see everything he felt. But still a mistake. They had 3 days trapped together in that Istanbul safehouse, and each one was torture. Arjun tried to maintain professional distance, sleeping in a different room, keeping conversations strictly about security protocols, avoiding her eyes during meals. It lasted approximately 6 hours before she cornered him in the library. We need to talk about what happens next, she said, blocking the doorway. There's nothing to talk about. The plan is clear. The plan is bullshit. She moved closer, and he retreated until his back hit the bookshelf. You're just going to walk away? Pretend you don't feel anything? Feeling is irrelevant. We both knew this was temporary. Temporary? She laughed, sharp and bitter. You think 3 weeks of wanting each other, 1 night together, and a lifetime of regret is temporary? That's not temporary, Arjun. That's tragedy. Then we live with tragedy. He tried to move past her, but she grabbed his shirt. Look at me. When he didn't, she yanked harder. I said, look at me. He did and immediately regretted it. Her eyes were fierce, determined, terrified. What do you want me to say, Layla? That I love you? That I want you? That every second away from you feels like dying? Would that change anything? Yes, it wouldn't. He caught her wrists, gentle but firm. Because you're still going to marry him. Your father isn't going to suddenly allow you to run off with your bodyguard. The political alliance that marriage represents is worth more than what we feel. Then let's not feel. She pulled one wrist free, touched his face. Let's just have these 3 days. Please. Before I go back to that life, give me this. He should refuse, should maintain the boundaries he'd tried to establish. Instead, he kissed her, soft and desperate and completely inevitable. This is only making it worse. I don't care. She kissed him back, hands pulling at his clothes. Worse is fine. Worse is at least something real. They made it to the couch in the library, then the kitchen counter that night, then back to the bedroom as dawn broke. Each time felt like goodbye, like memorizing something precious before it was taken away. On the second morning, wrapped in sheets with her head on his chest, she asked, "Tell me about your family, your real life, the person you are when you're not playing bodyguard." So he did. Told her about his mother who still called every week to ask when he'd come home, his sister who'd married a doctor and had 2 kids, the nephew who wanted to join the army like his uncle, the small apartment in Mumbai that he rarely saw because he was always on assignment. "It sounds lonely," she said softly. "It's safe. No attachments, no vulnerabilities. No life." She propped herself up to look at him. "That's not living, Arjun. That's just existing." Says the princess about to enter a loveless political marriage. She flinched. Fair point. Silence then. What would you do? If you could choose anything? If duty and obligation and consequences didn't exist? He thought about it. Really thought, let himself imagine for once. Small security firm, training work instead of field operations, somewhere with a beach maybe, somewhere I could sleep without checking exits. He touched her hair, let himself have this moment of honesty. Someone to come home to who knows my real name. I know your real name. No. He shook his head. You know Arjun Varma, bodyguard, the man who keeps watch and follows protocols. You don't know the version of me that exists without the job. I'd like to. She kissed his chest, right over his heart. In another life, I'd like to know that version. In another life, I'd introduce you properly. Take you to dinner. Meet your friends. Do all the normal things people do when they're falling in love. The words hung in the air, unintended, but undeniable. Are you, she whispered, falling in love with me? He should lie. I fell the moment I saw you in that garden, fighting your cage. I've been falling ever since. She cried then, and he held her while she broke apart, both of them knowing this was all they'd ever have. Stolen moments in a safe house between attempts on her life and a wedding that would seal both their fates. The third morning, reality crashed back in. Arjun's phone exploded with messages. Situation in Dubai stabilized, leak identified and contained, time to return. His team knocked on the bedroom door with equipment and updated protocols. Layla dressed silently, back in princess mode. Designer clothes that had been delivered overnight, hair perfect, makeup flawless. Every trace of the woman who'd clung to him erased behind royal presentation. "Car's ready in 20, one of his team members reported. Arjun nodded, then turned to find Layla watching him with eyes that said everything her mouth couldn't. "This is it then. This is it. When we get back, I submit my resignation. You marry Prince Khalid. We never speak of this." His voice was flat, emotionless, the only way he could function. "I love you." The words escaped her, raw and desperate. "I know I shouldn't. No, it doesn't change anything. But I need you to know." It took everything in him not to pull her into his arms. Don't make this harder." "Why not? It's already impossible." He finally looked at her fully, let her see him break. "Because if you say that again, I'll take you away from here, steal you, ruin both our lives for something that can't exist in the real world, and I love you too much to do that to you." She moved to him, took his face in her hands, then kissed me goodbye. "Give me that at least." He did, long and slow and full of everything they'd never have. When they finally pulled apart, both were shaking. "I'll never forgive you for saving my life," she whispered. "I'll never forgive myself for wanting you." They left Istanbul separately, her in the main vehicle with security, him following in tactical support, professional distance restored. Back to Dubai, back to reality, back to the life where Princess Layla bint Mohammed al-Rashid prepared to marry Crown Prince Khalid, and Arjun Varma was just another bodyguard who'd done his job. Except neither of them could forget those 3 days, those nights, that perfect, impossible love that bloomed in the space between violence and duty. 3 weeks later, Princess Layla stood in her bridal suite at the Grand Mosque, surrounded by silk and diamonds and the weight of inevitability. Her wedding dress was custom Eli Saab, thousands of hours of work, seed pearls and crystals, a train that took 3 attendants to manage. She wore her grandmother's diamonds at her throat. Her makeup was flawless. Her hair was art. She looked like every little girl's fantasy princess. She felt like a woman being led to her execution. 20 minutes, her sister Amira said softly, adjusting the veil. "You okay?" "No," the truth escaped before Layla could stop it. "I'm not okay. I can't do this." "Then don't." Amira met her eyes in the mirror. "Papa will rage. Khalid will be humiliated. There will be scandal, but you'll be alive. Actually alive. It's not that simple." "It is exactly that simple." Her sister's hands were gentle on her shoulders. "Do you love him? Prince Khalid?" Silence stretched. Outside, 500 guests waited. 2 royal families had gathered. The marriage contract had been signed. Everything was perfect. "No," Layla whispered finally. "Do you love someone else?" She closed her eyes, saw Arjun's face, remembered Istanbul, remembered what it felt like to choose something for herself, even if just for 3 days. "Yes." "Then what are you doing here?" The door opened before Layla could answer. An attendant, apologetic, "Your Highness, it's time." Layla stood on legs that felt disconnected from her body. This was it. The moment she'd been raised for, trained for, promised to since childhood. All she had to do was walk down that aisle, say the words, and her life would be decided forever. She reached the mosque entrance, saw the assembled crowd, royalty, dignitaries, power, and wealth concentrated in one space. The camera flashes were blinding. Somewhere, news networks broadcast this moment to millions. And then she saw him. Arjun stood in the back, part of the expanded security detail despite his resignation request still pending. He wore ceremonial uniform instead of his usual tactical gear. He looked like he was attending a funeral. Their eyes met across 500 guests in a lifetime of impossibility. Everything inside her broke open. "I can't," she said aloud. Her father, waiting to escort her down the aisle, gripped her arm. "Layla, I can't do this." Louder now. People were starting to stare. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I can't marry him." "You're nervous. It's natural." "I don't love him, Papa." She pulled free, her voice carrying in the sudden silence. "I don't want this marriage. I don't want this life. I want—" She looked at Arjun, saw him shake his head minutely, warning her, didn't care. "I want to choose for myself, just once." Chaos erupted. Her father's fury, Khalid appearing from the groom's entrance with confusion and rage on his face, guests murmuring in shock, cameras flashing like strobe lights. But Layla walked through it all, toward the back of the mosque, toward the man who'd taken bullets for her. "Your Highness, don't—" Arjun started. "Layla," she corrected, and took his hand in front of 500 witnesses and a dozen cameras. "My name is Layla, and I choose you." The scandal was immediate and catastrophic. Within hours, footage of Princess Layla taking her bodyguard's hand and walking out of her own wedding had gone viral. News networks ran it on loop, social media exploded. Think pieces about royalty and duty and modern women appeared within minutes. Sheikh Mohammed al-Rashid was apoplectic. Prince Khalid demanded compensation for the humiliation. Both families went into crisis management mode, while Layla was sequestered in the palace under what was essentially house arrest. Arjun was taken into custody by palace security. Not officially arrested, royals didn't arrest their staff, not publicly, but removed from active duty and questioned extensively about his relationship with the princess. They kept them separated for a week while lawyers and advisors and family members tried to contain the disaster. During that week, Layla learned what it cost to choose herself over duty. Her title would be revoked, her trust fund frozen. She would be cut off from royal resources and removed from the line of succession. She would leave Dubai with nothing but what she could carry, and she would never be welcomed back. Her father delivered the ultimatum personally, his face a mask of controlled fury. "You have destroyed this family's honor, our alliance with Abu Dhabi, decades of diplomatic work. For what? For a security guard?" "For myself," Layla said quietly, "for the chance to live a life I choose. This is the life you were born to, duty, service, sacrifice. No, Papa, that's the life you chose for me. I'm choosing something different." "Then you choose exile." He stood, done with her. "You have 48 hours to leave the country. After that, you will be persona non grata. Your bodyguard has already been paid off and sent back to India. If you follow him, if you contact him, we will have him arrested for kidnapping and seduction of a royal. Are we clear?" Her blood turned to ice. "You wouldn't try me." Her father's eyes were cold. "You want to throw away your life? Fine, but you do it alone. That man will not profit from dishonoring this family." Mumbai in the monsoon season was nothing like Dubai. The rain came in sheets, turning the streets to rivers, and the humidity made everything feel underwater. Layla stood outside a modest apartment building in Bandra, her courage wavering for the first time in months. She'd done exactly what her father said, left Dubai with a single suitcase, some jewelry she'd managed to liquidate, and enough money for 6 months if she was careful. She'd gotten a tourist visa for India, found a job teaching English at a private school in Mumbai, and lived in a tiny studio apartment that would have fit 3 times into her walk-in closet back home. It was the best 6 months of her life. She'd learned to take the local trains, to bargain in markets, to cook basic meals and do her own laundry. She'd made friends with her fellow teachers who knew her as Layla Ahmed, not Princess Layla. She'd discovered what it meant to be anonymous, ordinary, free. But she hadn't contacted Arjun, hadn't even tried to find him, terrified her father would make good on his threat. Until today. Until she couldn't bear one more day, not knowing if what they'd had in Istanbul was real or just a beautiful disaster. His name was on the apartment directory, A. Varma, 3B. She pressed the buzzer with a shaking hand. Long silence. Then, "Yes?" His voice through the intercom, careful and guarded. "It's me." She leaned close to the speaker. "Layla, I know I shouldn't be here, Know your life is probably better without me in it, but the door buzzed open before she could finish. She took the stairs because the elevator was broken, her heart hammering harder with each floor. When she reached 3B, the door was already open. Arjun stood there in jeans and a t-shirt, looking thinner than she remembered, more tired. His eyes went wide when he saw her. "You're here. You're actually here." "I'm here. Your father said if you contacted me." "I don't care what he said." She stepped closer. "I've spent 6 months living in a world where I'm not a princess, where I work and pay rent and make my own choices. It's hard and lonely and terrifying and absolutely worth it. But the only thing missing is you." He pulled her inside, closed the door, and just looked at her. Really looked like he was checking if she was real. "You cut your hair." "Needed to change." She'd chopped it to shoulder length, lost the royal styling. "Turns out I don't need 3 hours in a salon to feel like myself." "You look..." He stopped, shook his head. "You look free." "I am free. Broke, exiled, cut off from everyone I've ever known, but free." She reached for him, touched his face. "The question is, are you?" "Layla, if your father finds out you're here..." "He won't. I'm nobody now. Just an English teacher named Layla Ahmed. No title, no royal connections. Just a woman who happens to be in love with a security consultant named Arjun Varma." His breath caught. "You're really here. You're really not going back." "Never." She kissed him softly. "I burned every bridge, Arjun, gave up everything, because 3 days in Istanbul taught me something. I'd rather have a lifetime of real with you than a palace full of pretend with anyone else." He pulled her against him then, holding on like she might disappear. "This life is hard. I can't give you what you're used to. I don't want what I'm used to. I want morning tea and arguments about groceries and coming home to someone who knows my real name." She pulled back to look at him. "Can you give me that?" "I can give you everything I have." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, finally her mouth. "It's not much, but it's real." "Then it's enough." That night, curled up on his modest couch with rain hammering the windows and street sounds from Mumbai drifting up, Layla felt something she'd never experienced in all her years of royalty: peace. "Do you regret it?" Arjun asked quietly. "Giving up your life?" "I didn't give up my life. I claimed it." She turned in his arms. The princess in the palace wasn't living. She was performing. This... She gestured to the small apartment, their intertwined hands. "This is life. Your family might forgive you eventually. They might, or they might not." She shrugged. "Either way, I'm not waiting for their permission to be happy." "You're extraordinary," he said softly. "You know that? I'm ordinary now, just another person in a city of millions, and it's wonderful." They faced challenges. Visa complications that required creative solutions, phone calls from her father's lawyers trying to control the narrative, occasional recognition from news stories about the runaway princess. But they built something real, shared. Meals and shared responsibilities, mornings drinking tea on their tiny balcony, evenings walking along Marine Drive. Arjun's mother accepted her after initial shock. His sister taught her to cook traditional dishes. His nephew thought having a former princess as an aunt was the coolest thing ever. 6 months became a year, then 2. Layla got better at teaching, started a YouTube channel about Middle Eastern culture that developed a following. Arjun opened his security consulting firm, training others instead of taking bullets himself. They got married in a small ceremony with just family and close friends. No cameras, no crowns, no political alliances. Just 2 people choosing each other, finally free. Layla stood on the balcony of their new apartment, bigger now with the 2nd bedroom they'd need soon, watching Mumbai wake up in the pre-dawn light. She touched her growing belly, felt the baby move, and smiled. Behind her, Arjun emerged from the bedroom, sleepy and rumpled. "You're up early." "Couldn't sleep, too much thinking." He wrapped his arms around her from behind, hands covering hers on her belly. "Good thinking or bad thinking?" "Good," she leaned back against him. "Thinking about how 3 years ago I walked away from everything I knew, how terrifying that was." "Regrets?" "Not even one," she turned in his arms. You know what the best part is? Our daughter is going to grow up free. No royal expectations, no arranged marriages, no life planned out before she's born. Just choices. Our daughter's going to grow up with a mother who's brave enough to burn down kingdoms for love, Arjun corrected. That's a hell of a legacy. Think she'll understand when she's older? I think she'll know her parents chose each other over everything else. That's all kids really need, to know they come from love, not obligation. Layla kissed him as the sun rose over Mumbai, painting their small balcony gold. Down below, the city roared to life. Millions of people with their own stories, their own choices, their own chances at happiness. She was one of them now. No longer a princess, no longer defined by what she'd lost. Just Layla Varma, English teacher, expectant mother, woman who'd traded a kingdom for freedom and never once looked back. The palace hadn't burned after all, but the rules had. And sometimes, that's exactly what needs to happen before real life can begin.